Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Sasha and AJ Titik.
Just to start, I am very honored to be here and quite nervous. I have not addressed such a large room. I don't know about so many people. To protect myself from that thought and evil, I got some garlic that I brought from my farm. Just to set the table. As you can see, I also brought this t-shirt to let everybody know that I'm not objective. This is not science, this is my own experience of living before legalization and living with legalization in Canada. Just to bring a little color, I would like to bring Canada here, Montreal Canadians. I feel really bad that we have stolen so many great players in Czech Republic. I hope you don't hold me personally responsible. Anyway, I've been a farmer since 1973. I bought a farm and embarked on the wonderful trip of growing food organically. In the place where we live, it's Quebec, Canada, we had the biggest concentration of organic farmers in the 80s. We created a crop improvement association, which means that the farmers would get together and help each other to educate and share their experience. In our group, I must say that 80% of our members, besides growing carrots and broccoli and milking goats, also grew cannabis. And we shared the experience of our development, growing, our pain. There was no indica varieties, but we all grew together and everybody had its own variety and everybody was proud of it. And the beauty of that was that under the restrictive laws against cannabis, cannabis as a plant flourished. Diversity of varieties, of genetic material was preserved and cherished by thousands and thousands of smokers, non-smokers, growers, farmers, and it was a wonderful, rich environment. As I participated in bringing industrial hemp to its legalization in Canada, I already noticed then that the control instruments of government definitely limited our access to the genetic material. Suddenly there was only 6 varieties, maybe 8 varieties that were allowed to grow. In Canada, in industrial hemp. Right now, from my perspective, I feel that I'm overwhelmed by many regulations that made something that is legal even more illegal than it was before. That, of course, brings an idea to my head that we live in a capitalist-driven economy where actually the money and the money, creation of money becomes the top priority for any organization that in Canada at this moment has an exclusive right for production, distribution, and marketing of cannabis. What it created, first of all, it took away the heritage of many, many years of growers who went to prison for growing. You know, that's been stolen from producers, from the farmers, and put in the hands of basically financiers. And I'm not against financiers because I know that the money makes things moving. But at the same time, I moved to the farm because I thought that the wealth creation, it starts in the barn of the life. It's the primary producers that create the basis of wealth. I know that maybe for some people it might sound like Marxism, that is the labor that creates wealth, but we gotta recognize the people who produce our products, our food, our dogs, computers. There is actually labor involved. What happened with cannabis is that that part of wealth creation is concentrated in a few hands and is basically controlled by the banking and investment market. If we look from my perspective, and this is my non-objective opinion, people that were chasing meat, that were putting meat in prison, are the biggest beneficiaries of so-called legalized system in Canada. We have a police chief who not long ago compared legalization of marijuana to murder. How can you legalize marijuana? It's like legalizing murder. Those people are suddenly heads of the biggest marijuana cannabis company. We have our former prime minister, conservative, who would set up incredibly oppressive laws. Suddenly, he's on the board of directors. So basically, from my perspective, legalization did not bring anything special for me. At the same time, when I look at the enthusiasm of people who stand in line on the first day of legalization, they waited for hours to buy the first legal cannabis flower. It was beautiful. On the other hand, there is this incredible resurgence of research, of scientists who suddenly can get hold of the material and bring us true knowledge. So this is the biggest benefit of legalization, that soon, and it's already happening, that we will get true knowledge of the value of the plant as a medicine. And of course, let's not forget about recreation. There is a beautiful recreation quality of the plant that nobody that I know fights while they smoke, after they smoke, and it creates a very wonderful camaraderie. So, again, legalization had that benefit. This is something from my own perspective. I'm sad to see that suddenly there is, instead of 10,000 varieties of cannabis, we're limiting it to few varieties, and not only that, we're getting into monoculture, and even more, we're getting into a clonoculture, which means that all those millions and millions of plants will have exactly the same genetic profile. And I don't think that's good for us. So my fear is that one day I will wake up in this monochromatic world when I will look at you and I will see myself, and it's not fun. I would like to look at you and say, wow, are they different? Thank you.
cannabis family, maybe you've got that idea already. The cannabis has been a big part of our family history in a really unique way. And in fact, I can call myself a second generation grower because I learned a lot of things from my father. I've actually been growing for 30 years and started growing for fun when I was 17. And also, when I was young, lived through some difficult times, troubles with the law, as my father alluded to. We suffered the consequences of cannabis prohibition. It had a serious effect on our family, and there was a sense that we were in a conspiracy, and I was taught from a young age to keep this knowledge to myself. Be very careful who we're talking to. It was a part of a conspiracy. Now, the fact that we can open up and talk openly about it, it's wonderful. I'm still having to get used to it. So I built a career out of actually breeding cannabis. What I'm known for as the joint doctor is I developed some auto-flowering strains. So basically the first auto-flowering strains, which are they're plants that are relatively small, very easy to grow. And they're very popular with people who grow their own, home gardening, people growing on windowsills. They're not very, they haven't been adopted by commercial producers so much. Because this plant is not a plant that you clone. It's a plant that's always started again from seed. And commercial producers are looking for, complete uniformity in their crops from one generation to another. So, the seed, who is interested in seeds and breeds, it could be just about anyone who has an interest in growing their own. And so, I've had some successes with introducing these new cultivars, and actually the autoflowering plants have taken a life of their own. Now most seed banks have some kind of autoflowers. It has become a whole new category of plants, actually. Actually, my father, he's one of the best gardeners I know, and over the years he's tested many of my strains in his garden. So I feel lucky to be alive and to have built a career with cannabis. Now see it become legal. Now see that all this work is paying off, and I'm trying to make a transition into this legal, brave new world of cannabis. And it's actually not so easy, because we really have to fight for our place in this new industry. A lot of people, what I will call weed people, my people, are disillusioned by this legalization. And there's just a few things missing in the picture. First of all, legalization has some important components. You have regulation, obviously. And Canada has gone ahead and regulated. There was 5 laws before. It was very simple. When cannabis was illegal, you couldn't grow it, you couldn't sell it, you couldn't import it. And those were the laws. Now there's 49 laws on the books, including not smoking near a school, not driving on cannabis, and some other more obscure laws. And the federal government created this structure, this group of laws to legalize cannabis, but I think a lot of us think that deregulation would have been more advantageous, but that's just sort of wishful thinking. But we've got to remember that legalization in the first place, the movement to legalize, to regularize cannabis, was started by an interesting mixed group of cannabis activists, of sick people and patients and farmers who had to fight the government, who had to go to court and fight tooth and nail to get first permission to grow. It started with industrial hemp. We got the permission to do experiments with industrial hemp. Next came personal marijuana, medical marijuana production. Now, we have, now we're 20 years later, and we have supposed complete legalization. So, you have regulation, you have commercialization. But those two things are not enough. In my opinion, if you want my population, my people to accept this legalization and to embrace it, to embrace this new system of commercial marijuana, there's a couple things missing. In my opinion, it has to be more important than all of these things is reconciliation. For all the harm that's been done to us and our people over the generations. First, there has to be an acknowledgement. We cannot simply ignore the fact that the wrongs that have been done in the past. We have to acknowledge that the wrongs were done to us, and more than that, there has to be some reparation, some kind of reparation. The main one is amnesty. Now, people who committed crimes in the past, cannabis crimes in the past, they have a criminal record. Over 500,000 Canadians have a criminal record. That can affect your ability to get a job, go to the United States, for example. And so far, amnesty has not been part of the proposals from the government. Hopefully it will come. But not only that, people who are working in cannabis, in the gray markets, in the black markets in the past, they don't have, most of them, the great majority, do not have a place in this new world of legal marijuana. There's no place for them, simply because, the government says, sorry, what you did was criminal before, so my people are becoming increasingly disillusioned. And I just, we just have to remember where the whole movement started. I just want to quote a good article that I was reading. In Canada, over 1 million people have been charged with a marijuana crime, and over 500,000 currently have a criminal record. Now, in a country of 30 million people, that's a very large percentage. And it's my prediction that the new legal industrial companies working in legal marijuana business, they're going to have to turn around. They're going to need us because we're going to be, not only are we going to be their clients, we are also going to be their growers in the end because they don't know how to grow. They're going to have to come back to us. So hopefully they realize that we have to fight for our place in the new scheme of things. I have to just apologize a little bit because we had a technical problem with the presentation, and this is not exactly the right presentation. It's a previous version, but I did want to show you. Okay. Okay, if I show them some pictures of your garden? Sure. Would you like to comment?
Absolutely.
The idea of autoflowering strains was that people can grow them in their gardens, in their backyards, in the rooftops, windowsills, and they're quite inconspicuous. They're not huge plants. You can grow them in rows with potatoes and cabbage. And that's exactly what my father has done over the years. So,
I just want to notice that in 90s, Sasha, through his roots, my roots in Poland, obtained the Polish citizenship and did his postgraduate study in the Polish Institute of Natural Fiber. And in this environment, Sasha was able to breed and also establish a seed bank for Polish Institute, who only operated within the industrial cannabis genetics. We thought it was very important for breeders to also access material for what they call Indian hemp in Poland. And one of Sasha's projects was to actually multiply, evaluate, analyze, if I remember correctly, 27 strains of different Indian hemp, let's call it, in Polish terms. So when Sasha did his breeding, I was always very interested in how a seed would grow in the normal conditions, without any lights, without any special tricks, or not even tricks, just methods. Simply put the seed in the ground and see how it grows. So those are examples of my garden where I grow cabbage and other vegetables, and I would plant rows of row of cannabis weed to see how it grows. And my experience was that all his new and old varieties that he produced, from this time I put the seed in the ground around 2nd to 7th of June, in 59 to 61 days, we had mature plants. Also, reading a history of traditional hemp growing in Eastern Europe, there was a tradition of using hemp as a companion plant. For example, a row of hemp next to the cabbage or brassicas, suddenly there was no buds. Strangely, this is just has nothing to do with legal stuff. That was interesting to see that I would go to my garden and I always look for the butterflies as producers of larvae, and they were all over the place. There were not many, but there were. And in my laziness, I just watched. And one day I realized that out of my cabbage, there were swarms of little birds that I didn't know before would fly out. Then I realized that it's the cannabis who attracted those birds that ate the little larvae of cabbage plant. Also in Poland, traditionally, in production of hops, Poland is a big producer of hops. Traditionally, farmers would surround their field with industrial hemp. That also protects. In Ukraine, from what I read, and I practiced that on my farm, that it's a very good companion plant for potatoes. Now, back to legalization. I think that, and that might sound very strange to the neoliberals and uber capitalists and the free marketeers, but I think that production of cannabis should be open to farmers. Everybody should be able to grow. All the time. That would make the plant kingdom richer. It would make farmers, producers richer, and would provide us with actually enough material for the users. Legalization in Canada brought, within 12 days, those big multi-billion-dollar companies who pride themselves with building the biggest greenhouses, they can't supply it. They can't supply the market. There was nothing. I think that we should nationalize, and as a crypto-anarchist, I hate to say that, but I like the idea that the distribution should be in the hands of the people. And if we have a government that we think it's ours, that's the government should be distributor. The farmers should be growers, everybody can come, and based on the quality, could supply the government, and the wealth created would be much more evenly distributed than the way it is going now. Right now, again, we have companies that have billions of dollars of investment, and it will not produce a good result. It will not make our world more diversified, and I think the principle of organic agriculture is to get away from monoculture. Diversity brings health, and I think it happens in the kingdom of plants and also in kingdom of humans. We should be mixed. We should not close the borders to people. We have open borders for products. The only reason the borders exist is because of the people. We don't want people to cross those borders. We don't mind that the capital moves freely, that the goods move freely, but I'm going into the wrong direction.